Hi, my name's John Wright, and you know what? It is 3/4 of 2024, and my name's John Wright. And, I've started making videos again. What happens is they get me all pressured up around here, and they trigger post-traumatic stress disorder. In my last videos, if you look back and listen back, there was somebody that was shooting guns out here for, 40 minutes or so. Prior to that, I've had a BB gun shot over here in my side of my motorhome over here, and this lion that's on the side of this motorhome right here that I put on here because you know what? They used to uh, they used to call me Clarence the Cross-Eyed Lion because I had cross eyes when I was a kid and I had to wear glasses. So when people call me Clarence the Cross-Eyed Lion, or like Clarence Thomas, Clarence Thomas was probably treated like Clarence the Cross-Eyed Lion too. And matter of fact, Clarence the Cross-Eyed Lion Thomas came across my radar a few months ago, or not too long ago, over that motorhome thing, and I don't know. It seems like the justices of the United States of America seems to be a little bit dirty, and actually they seem to be I don't know. They're in a very compromising position from where I stand anyway. I don't know how you look at things, but I look at things in a different way. Now, this guy over here, he's been making noise and stuff and causing me a lot of goddamn grief right here in front of me, and his name's Wallstead. And he lives right there through my window, and I could see his goddamn house. And he don't want to have his curtains open anymore towards me. Because I'm right here, and I always wave to people. And if I catch Mr. Wallstead, he's gonna goddamn get his ass kicked for fucking causing me goddamn grief. Matter of fact, there's somebody over here on the other side of me that was blowing off stuff too. That guy that was shooting those bullets. That guy right there, he should be having a goddamn cops kicking through his motherfucking door, along with Wallstead right there. Because you know what? Well, maybe the cops have taken care of it because the surveillance and stuff has come on. But I'll tell you what, when somebody comes over and they trigger me and we start talking and I start telling them about the things that was happening, like with Janice Sanders. Here I get shot at in Morton, Washington by this little Joe Tromley. I come up from the 2x4 mill right there to that bar that's right there next to the 4-lane bowling alley at 208 Main Street. Right there, there's a bar. My mom used to work at that bar too, by the way. That was the bar that Terry Lance's Shortridge's mother came into the bar and said to my mother, "Do you know what today is?" And my mother looked at her and she said, "This is the day that your son murdered my son." And my mom wanted me to go and do something to her, to Mrs. Shortridge. And I just looked at my mom and said, I didn't say nothing. I just thought, what are you talking about? How do you not blame this person for doing such a thing? Matter of fact, my dad said that Gladys Shortridge was coming down to the bowling alley and she had a stack of checks down at the bowling alley. And I'm like, why are you taking checks from Gladys Shortridge? He says, well, I knew she didn't have no money in her account. She could just come down there and write a check down at that bowling alley and get money. She was taking money from the goddamn bowling alley over Terry Lance Shortridge being murdered on my bed. I never got a goddamn fucking dime. This is what I got. Matter of fact, I had the Shortridge boys come down to the bowling alley playing air hockey when at the bowling alley's open, and as I walk out of the side door, because there's 4 lanes that wasn't put in the bowling alley, and that was all playroom area where there's 4 lanes on the right hand side of the bowling alley. Okay, right there, Shortridges are there. First thing I know is those guys are out fucking selling me an ounce of marijuana. They want to make sure everything's okay with me. They want to make sure everything's just fine. Now I'm getting pressured from the Shortridges. I'm getting pressured from my own family members. I'm getting picked up during that time area that I get this ounce for $160 from the short ridges. See, I got money in the bowling alley. Why? I've got newspaper routes. I've got money. As a kid, I have money because my dad told me at that 4-lane bowling alley uptown, you gotta make money. You're gonna have to make money and feed yourself, John. We're on our own. You know, my dad was telling me bits and pieces. How about Danny Johnson from Port Angeles, the Johnson store up there, the Highway Market, coming down the stairway and telling my dad, called my dad Zorge, Zorge, Zorge. As I'm saying, Dad, you wouldn't believe who's here? It's Danny Johnson. Danny Johnson comes down there and he's threatening my dad. If you ever come back to Port Angeles again, Zorge. You know, matter of fact, I started the Zorge, Zorge, Zorge shit starting over at Mossy Rock after I was abducted to the bowling alley and Mossy Rock Lanes. You know, I'll tell you another thing that happened in that bowling alley right there. My dad bought Jim Wright a gun, a 30-06 from Jerry Kaywood. Jerry Kaywood, his dad bowled in the bowling alley, Emmett Kaywood, over at the Chehalis Bowling Center. I'm telling you, you could check out the bowling scores and stuff in the newspaper. Emmett Smith's name is right there. So anyway, there at Mossy Rock, my dad buys us their gun from Jerry Kaywood. He's right there. It's like you could just reach out and touch him, looking through the scope and stuff. You know, at the end of the deal, they cut down the deal. It's $200 plus a case of beer. You're buying the beer tonight, George. No, it was $225. It was $225. You're buying the beer tonight, and a box of bullets was in the deal. Okay, well, Jerry and Kaywood and my dad takes off, and they go downtown. Matter of fact, I watched my dad drive out of sight on the yellow Honda 90 that he bought us boys down there at Mossy Rock. As soon as we got down there, there's a Honda. We get a Honda 90, and we got it from Sylvia's dad, Jerry, over there at Salcombe by the Brown Shack. And my dad thought about buying that Brown Shack, you know, before he got into the Alpine up there. He was looking for a place to be, you know. And by the way, they must have had something planned off for getting money, by the way. They were acting. Now, over at that house over there before my mother got there, that 30-06 comes. They've gone, my dad's gone down to the Pioneer Tavern downtown Mossy Rock where they have Dan burgers and stuff, great big hamburgers. My dad would bring them back, we'd cut them up into pieces, we'd eat them. You know, Jerry, Jim, John, and George. You know, I mean, so anyway, now they go down there and Jim's brought out that we've got the BB guns out. We're first in the bowling alley and Jim's throwing bowling balls down the lanes. You know, none of the bowling machines are on. We could turn on the bowling machines even, you know. We just probably didn't know how to yet. So anyway, then all of a sudden Jim's throwing the bowling ball diagonally across the bowling lanes. You know, then all of a sudden we've got the BB guns out and we're shooting the BB guns in the bowling alley. Next thing, Jim disappears and I'm on lane 4 and Jim's walked up behind me on lane 3 and I can hear him say, it's like you could just reach out and touch him, saying the same exact thing that my dad says as the gun gets discharged, and he's discharged that gun from behind me and scared the fuck out of me. Bowling pin right down there on lane 3 just blows apart. And by the way, there's going to be a hole in the back of that bowling alley about 25 feet in, 30 feet for 4 lanes. So you've got that runway and you've got 3 lanes right there. So, you know, it's going to be about 20, 25 feet right there. There's going to be a hole in the back of that building right there where a 30-06 bullet went through from the front end of that bowling alley right back there through that bowling machine where the head pin would have been. I mean, a person can mathematically measure it and say if there's a little block back there that goes over a hole, or you can see where it's patched, there's where that 30-06 hole went through that building. And these people were doing this shit and had me in shell shock all the time. Matter of fact, when Marietta and them got down there, the next thing they did was Jerry and my dad took me out hunting with them, and here they have a handgun. My dad pulls out the handgun out the window at a bear. First it's like, John, keep your eyes peeled. It wasn't too long before that bear comes running around right across the front car, blue Dodge Polar that got cut in half, that's in and out outside of Morton, Washington, 5 miles, in the old dump, was turned over there. That there's the car that was used in the murder of Darlene, no, of Betty Lou Jensen and David uh, Fairway, Far, anyway, and David and Barry Lou Jensen. Barry Lou Jensen got murdered, and David Faraday. That's what it was. So anyway, hey, I'm not grafting and stuff. I'm not looking on a monitor, but I'm remembering stuff that's many years old. Now we got somebody that's crossed the way again over at that fire hall, but you know what? They don't stay there very long. And again, they're looking at my motorhome now. I got signage outside now. It says, "Thank you for your order," but I should be able to tape it in and type in Cooper's Air Force 101. You know what? I don't mind coming up telling the truth, but they don't like facing me. You know what I mean? It's not easy for these guys that's been lying all the time to face somebody when they're right here in front of you, and all of you out there in the audience knows that I'm right here and I'm telling you the truth. And I am telling you the truth. If it wasn't so, there wouldn't be a saw in the bowling alley in Morton, Washington, Millhouse Smokehouse. Look at the things. They got a $20 sign in the picture, $20 for the $20 ticket, airline ticket on the 727 on 11/24/1971. There's a police right there. I'm waving to him. I'm sitting right here waving to him. I got my party lights on and I'm waving to him. Isn't that nice? And I want the American public to know I'm not hiding from anybody, but those scums have been hiding behind the cops, and they use the cops to call them up and say, "Oh, there's trouble out here." And they use the cops. My family members would call get me riled up. So I would call the cops to have the cops come out here, because if I call the cops, somebody has to be taken in, and maybe I will be arrested, and they'll gang up on me like a bunch of maggots, like they always have. And guess what? I work in the public at a bowling alley, and I was ripped off for $1.5 million down there at the bowling alley in Centralia, Washington, Fairlanes Bowling Center. And when I went to get my records and stuff from the Lewis County Courthouse, they're all blacked out. Why am I blacked out? Do I have to go through an Information Act to get my things for my mother and my family records and stuff? But the real reason was because they were hiding behind this. Those son of a bitches in Lewis County been hiding behind me. You know what? They could bring me goddamn $21 million, and I'll go buy me a goddamn 40-acre to a fucking 360-acre farm someplace. And if I catch anybody coming on my property, I'll just goddamn gun them down, and I'll take my fucking backhoe and I'll go down and bury them. No one has the right to harass me ever fucking again. I want those goddamn cops' badges and stuff that sits across the street having coffee, wasting taxpayers' money. And who do they do this for? For the coup of Donald Trump? We better get it right this time, guys. We better get it right.